It's like two people on a playground, a bully and a lesser bully shoving each other, daring in the case of Putin, daring Europe, go ahead, punch me, I dare you.
The Kremlin said it was no closer to a breakthrough after 5 hours of talks with President Trump's special envoy Steve Witkoff and his son-in-law Jared Kushner. Is a peace deal really still possible? Jim Townsend is a former US Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defence for European and Nato policy, and he joins us now. Good morning.
Good morning.
So, what is your immediate reflection on what we've heard over after those talks, which admittedly started late, but don't really seem to have come to any conclusion?
Well, I'm not too surprised. This is a theme we've seen over and over again with Putin. I'm sure he sat there and was listening and being entertained by what the U.S. Delegates were saying, but he's in no place to feel any pressure to come to a deal. He's sitting there just listening and enjoying saying no to these people.
And so the question then, the important question is, where do things go from here? Because there was a huge amount of expectation on these talks. It did seem to have built to this point, and a suggestion that
Well,
maybe there could be a breakthrough. But where do we go from here?
You're absolutely right. There's always been expectations built up. The Alaska summit, follow-on meetings. There's always a big overture played before they sit down, but the result is always the same. And so I think going forward, I don't see any changes. In fact, I saw that Putin felt it's even more emboldened to me. There was even more hubris there. He was even more big talk about the battlefield and how things are going there, and also pushing on Europe as well, daring Europe to do something about Russia and hybrid war. He seems to be full of beans, and right now he's not going to do anything that's going to be a gamble if he thinks that he's going to win on the battlefield. Given patience, he thinks he's going to get all that he wants.
And I was going to ask you about those comments about Europe, because President Putin did say, I don't necessarily want to have a fight with Europe, but if they want to, I'm ready for it. I mean, that does seem to be an escalation, a bold move, which we've not seen from him in quite the same terms. What is he thinking in doing that?
Well, I think you're absolutely right. This is a step up in terms of the rhetoric. We've seen a step up in escalation in terms of the hybrid war itself. Now, the verbal slings and arrows back and forth is something that's relatively new, and it's like two people on a playground, a bully and a lesser bully shoving each other, daring, in the case of Putin, daring Europe, go ahead, punch me, I dare you. So there's this a rhetorical flourishing now going on between both sides. The situation with the hybrid war is tense. I don't doubt that this kind of rhetoric comes from what we're seeing right now. Where it goes, I don't know, but NATO is talking about that today. And we'll have to see what the Secretary General says and our foreign ministers, what they say after the NATO meetings on how they're going to deal with this.
Is the calculation partly here from Putin's side that if he starts stepping up the rhetoric on Europe, is he gambling that maybe President Trump won't necessarily come to the rescue or come to the support of European allies? Is he trying to drive a wedge between America and Europe more broadly?
Absolutely. That's been his plan for years, was to drive a wedge between the US and Europe. That's been the Russian or Soviet also tactics. That's what they want to do. And so this is a test right now. He's pushing Europe. He's saying stuff about Europe. He's doing things against Europe, and he's watching the US response. Are we right behind Europe and saying, don't you dare touch our ally here? You don't touch NATO. If you do, you're going to feel force from us. Or are we all taken up with other things happening in the United States, domestic politics, China, Gaza? How close are we with Europe right now, given these threats coming out of Russia? So Putin is testing to see what the U.S. response is going to be.
And what do you think it will be?
I'm hoping it's going to be as strong as one would expect it to be. And knowing our relationship for the past number of years, that we're going to be there backing up Europe. But I think there's enough doubt, whether it's in the minds of Putin or other people, that we're not as sure as we would have been a few years ago. At least not sure about the degree of support that the United States would give Europe. And that's the problem. And that's what gives a lot of makes Putin so emboldened, is that he thinks that the U.S. will not be there at the end of the day. And so he's rolling the dice. He's beginning to test just to see if that's right. And if in fact his instinct is right, then we're going to have to see what happens with all of that's happening rhetorically
Yeah.
between Europe and Russia.
Jim, thank you. As ever, great to have you with us on the programme.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. That is Jim Townsend there, former US Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defence for European and NATO policy.
So pleased to see you. You've had a walk around this. So pleased to see you. You've had a walk. Right. Beautiful walk.
Хорошая, красивая прогулка.
Around the city. Right. Beautiful walk.
Очень хорошая, красивая прогулка.
Organizing that. Together with the Moscow authorities.
Московские власти по праву.
It was Mr. Witkoff organizing that.
Московские власти.
As you know, we have a problem with a war that our people are trying to settle now with Russia and Ukraine. We are not involved in the war monetarily anymore. Biden gave away $350 billion like it was candy. That's a massive amount of money. And much of it in cash, a lot of it in equipment. I don't give away anything. We sell the equipment to NATO. The European nations pay us for the equipment, 100% price. And then they bring it to Ukraine or whatever they do with it. But we're trying to get that settled. I've settled 8 wars. This would be the 9th. And our people are over in Russia right now to see if we can get it settled. Not an easy situation, let me tell you. What a mess. It's a war that never would have happened if I were president.
There is no unanimity within the alliance about Ukraine coming in the alliance. So that's one of the reasons when it comes to a future peace deal, we are discussing how, if not NATO membership, how we can make sure that Ukraine is protected in a way by itself, but also with help from others, so that the Russians will not try again.
Member countries will have to secure the deal, and NATO cannot.
And we are closely coordinating with the Americans and being helpful wherever we can as NATO to get that peace deal done. And of course they are, as you know, closely in discussions with Ukrainians. There are discussions today with the Russians.
We spoke with Steve yesterday and with him and with all his team, and we spoke. I think I already answered on your question that we are waiting for the results in America-Russia negotiations, today's results, and I will react according to the results.